Okay. We've made it about halfway around the mountain before I had to go to work. So we're just going to continue that direction. No idea what actual direction we're going, but at least it's daylight now. And didn't get anything else. Skills are still the same. Nothing's changed anywhere. We just stopped video right there where we got to before I had to go to work on Twitch, which wasn't very long after shutting down the video for YouTube. So let's just keep going down this way and see what we can find. Oh, since we are not trading, none of that actually matters, but oh, found an egg, huh? Figure we may as well try to forage a little bit on the way. Get some food. Cabbage. That actually will help fill us up a little bit. At least put us back past the 50% mark. The egg's not going to do a whole lot. The egg tastes not very nutritional. Oh, because I hit taste, not eat. All right, what are we at? 60. It's better than a kick in the pants anyway. Yeah, see, foraging, now that the server's been up for almost 24 hours, foraging is actually working a bit better. We're going to keep the corn. Good gravy. We're getting forage almost. Another egg. Getting forage pretty regular now. Yeah, see? Everything's lingonberry. But see, that's good that it's popping up now. We're not going to do too much of it on the route. I just wanted to see if we could get a few things put in our belly. A couple of sprouts. potato. There we go. That's what I was looking for. We're going to eat the pumpkin. And that's going to fill us up a little better. We'll eat the raspberries. We'll eat the lingonberry. We'll eat this other egg. And I don't need the sprouts, but they are for berry bushes, and they'll come in later. Or come in handy later anyway. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. We're at 80%, so we can forage more when we get to where we're going. But as you can see, I mean, there's so much room. And that's actually not very far from the mine. That's a decently workable little piece of land. You do not need to have your mine on your property. You do not need to have the water on your property. I mean, you could make your property, say, up here, and level this out and have your mine or whatnot, have it under your settlement's protection, and just run a road down to the water if you wanted to, or vice versa, or put it somewhere in the middle, whatever. But just keep in mind everything that is, let's see, foraging increased to 11. Everything that is under the protection of your settlement is also protected from decay. So my suggestion would be make your settlement up closer to the wherever you're going to have the mine, and then just run a road down to the water, or find a seriously narrow area that you can have the water and the mine really close together, if such an area exists. But there's no need for a settlement that's 500 by 500, for example. And if I see that that's what's going on this server, um, then I'll be forced to turn on the um, settlement costs, and I don't want to have to do that. So if you're coming to this server, um, use common sense. Be reasonable about the amount of space. I mean, I've left the settlement costs turned off to be nice. I don't necessarily need to keep them off. I can close the server down, change the settings, turn it back on, and then everyone's going to end up with upkeep costs. Um, so you're only going to be hurting everybody else on the server. So be reasonable, be nice to your neighbors. Um, use common sense when it comes to your settlement um, size and everything, and then we don't have to go that route, and everybody can benefit from having a free settlement. Start with a small one and expand as you go. There's no need to just grab up um, 500 squares in every direction for no reason. I mean, most of us aren't even going to be able to, even if we're working at it for 4 or 5 hours a day, most of us aren't even going to be able to utilize 100 in each direction. That's pretty massive. You got to think this is an 8K map, which means there's only 8,000 tiles across the map in each direction. So if you're taking up 500 in each direction, that's already 1,000. That's a 1K map. That is, and this is an 8K map. It is absolutely massive. But if somebody's taking up 1,000 of those tiles in any direction, you're chewing up an eighth of the map just by yourself, and that's absolutely obscene. So be reasonable, be courteous to everybody else that's trying to play. Keep your settlements, decent size. You don't have to go super tiny. All I ask is to stay reasonable within the area. Oh, we're out of stamina, and we can all get along over here. I suppose since I'm going through forested area, we should actually try to see if we can find a branch or two, huh? When we're going this way anyway. Found a mushroom. Not what I was looking for. Found a corn. Also not what I was looking for. The foraging is actually working. Found another corn. I just had to wait for the server to actually generate some stuff, that's all. Lots of corn. And a lingonberry. So right now I'm trying to stay fairly close to the mountain because that's going to be my guide. Another mushroom. Found rice. That's something new at least. Another mushroom. Black mushroom. Apparently there's lots of mushrooms. And we're not going to do this the whole way over there. That would take way too long. But we needed food anyway. We're running through a wooded area anyway. Found a branch. And just out of curiosity, thought it said I found a branch. Oh, right there. In with the other branches. So these are the old ones. Yeah, I made the branches that were given to us all twos. This branch is a 22.75. Just so y'all know. Oh, and to be fair, I am not going to use those branches. Um, so we were given 7 branches, so we need to forage 7 branches, and we are going to destroy them. And some of you are wondering, well, why would you destroy a much better quality branch if you need branches anyway? Well, because I'm trying to be as upfront and honest about this as possible. So since we were given branches, I want to, and there's a second one. Let's take a look. That's a 9.97. So there's 2, okay? So these 2 will be destroyed. This is what we were given. So that effectively wipes out 2 of these that were freebies. So we need to find 5 more to be back at effectively a 0, if that makes any kind of sense. Um, I don't want anything given to this character for free. Um, but clearly we needed the branches to be able to get anywhere. And we went through a bunch of a wooded area before I went that route. So to make things fair, regardless of the quality, um, regardless of rarity, these are actually the first 2 that were found. So they replaced 2 of these that were given. But this is the path we went through. So essentially, I'm saying this one would be this one. This one would be this one. So those 2 replace these 2. So it's pretending that this one was found and this one was found. So we have 5 more to find to break even. We're just going to keep going because there's still a long run to get to where we're going. And we will do some more. I'm not going to wipe out any of the branches until we get um, the, to the number that we need. There's plenty of time search for more branches, but we will go out and find more branches. I'm just trying to get a bit further down the run. And remember, I dropped everything, so I have no compass. I have no idea where we're at. I have no idea which direction we're going. All I know is the mountain goes this way, so that's what we're following. And I can bring up the other map easy enough. If I can find some sort of a landmark or something like that. Um, the um, design of some of the pieces of water or something that'll help me figure out where I'm at. But realistically, even um, if we're going on the premise that we were shipwrecked or whatever and dropped here with no gear, no nothing, then we wouldn't even have a map. I'm not going to fully role play this out. I will utilize the map just so that we're figuring out where uh, we are and need to go. Oh yeah, we definitely need some water. Okay, so I know water's in this direction. We're still heading the way of the mountain. So let's go over this rise and see how far away we are. I think we'd be all right coming down this way. And I'm probably going to have to up the animal count just because there's a lot of barren land here. But I don't want to do like the last public server I did and have so many animals that you really couldn't get anywhere without seeing animals. In reality, an area like this would have animals, but you wouldn't be running across them constantly like you do in Wurm. But they do seem a little sparse, so we want to bring in a few more. So the standard for a 2K map is 10,000 animals. I currently have, I believe, 36,000. But keep in mind, the more stuff you put into a map, the more lag you deal with. So if we multiply that by 8, or no, by 4, it should be about 40,000. And I'm pretty much right there. The problem is, it's not multiplying it by 4 because a 4K map is 4 2K maps. And then an 8K map is 4 4K maps. So technically we should be multiplying it by 16 because it's compounded. Okay, we can still follow the mountain, but we're going to come down here and get some water. So there's a horse, but he's kind of by himself. So yeah, we should be running closer to 160,000. and we're only running 30,000. For a small population, that wouldn't be terrible. But at the same time, what if this is the first horse you've seen and your property is way over there? You've just traveled a massive distance to get a horse, and now you got to lead the doggone thing back to your property. That's an undertaking. And horses cannot swim in this game, at least without a mod. So that's going to be a bit of a journey as well. They cannot board any of the seagoing vessels without a mod, and typically that mod is the mod that gets used is a um, it's kind of a stables type mod, but basically you bring your horse to the stables. It's weird. It gets exchanged for a token, and then you go to another stables on the other piece of land or whatever and exchange that token. You get your horse back. So it's kind of weird, but even with those, technically the horse or the animal still doesn't get or isn't allowed on the vessel itself. There's some reeds. If anybody needs reeds. All right. There we go. Now, let's kind of get our bearings here. So come down that stretch there. We got to continue down the mountain. And of course, now it's raining. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come down this way and get to an area where we can actually climb the mountain a little bit and take a look around, see what we can see. And we'll compare it to the map to see where we're at. Because that's going to be probably our best option at the moment. We're going to grab back some stamina. There we go. More grape bushes. And in case I didn't show you guys before, so I'm still moving forward. I'm going to right click the raspberries and eat them. And you can see I have not stopped moving forward and I'm still eating the raspberries. So you don't have to stop to be able to eat. You can still eat. If you have what is it, a canteen in this game, a drinking flask, wine scan, something along those lines, you can actually drink as well. moving does not cancel your current action. Just like, if we forage here, we'll stop. So if we decide to forage this tile, see, it's still going. I don't want to get out of the area because it'll tell me I'm too far away. But just moving doesn't cancel that that action. And there's no jumping. You can hear my space bar. There's no jumping. Which means that when you build your settlement walls, you don't necessarily need very large walls. Sure, they're nice, they look good, but you don't need a large wall to prevent people from coming in. All you need is all you need is a curb. No, no bigger than these rocks here, and they can't get past it. Now, there are some types of quote-unquote fencing or walls that do not prevent, and you can literally just walk through them, just like we can walk through these rocks. It doesn't stop them. Okay? You can literally walk through the rocks because they're just visuals. They're not actual um, collision entities. What on earth are you? Oh, there's Biddy's rose bush, or a rose bush. There looks like there's another one right there too. Yep. So more rose bushes for Biddy out in the wild. Like I said, I've put in pretty much every type of bush and tree, um, different types of tiles across the entire game. So, or the map. So if you're looking for a specific type of tree, if you're looking for a specific type of bush, if you're looking for um, reeds or marshland, peat, um, clay, it's all in here. You just got to look around. A lot of them are small tile sets, so you're not going to see, massive segments of sand somewhere. You may see a few tiles of it here and there, but you're not going to see any massive because I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of land for people to build on and that those tiles were spread out but still usable. So there may be, you may find the ideal location for your settlement, but maybe it doesn't have, you know, um, sand and clay on your settlement, but there might be one near it. And you can potentially share that tile with your neighbor, or maybe if it's on your neighbor's property, talk to your neighbor and find out if it's cool if you come over and harvest some sand or some clay tiles or whatever it is. Hey, you've got lots of pine trees. I don't have any, and there's no other nearby. Do you mind if I harvest a few because I'm trying to build X, Y, or Z? And I really want to use pine. They might let you chop them down just so that they don't have to because they're trying to clear that area anyway. Maybe you've got some sort of tile on your deed that your neighbor needs. You might be able to work out some sort of a trade. Oh, there we lost our stamina again. If you look, we are now down to 0. calories, carbs, fats, and proteins because we have no cooked food and we're not at a place where we can cook food. But if we run across a clay tile, we do have a shovel. We might be able to dig some clay, make some pottery bowls. I was just watching, I think it was last week, Old Bitty Gaming going out and making some pottery bowls so that she could cook some stuff up. So it's a pretty simple process. So we can go and make some pottery bowls. Oh, I suppose I should change. Hang on, I gotta change the stream info for Twitch. There we go. Let's continue. Okay, so we're over here at this edge of the mountain. So we're going to do like we said. We're going to come up and see if we can see a little bit of the map. Kind of get our bearings a little. May have to actually climb. Ooh, climbing's a bit rough right now. Let's see if we can get over here because we don't want to fall all the way back down. There we go. Flat land. We can gain some stamina back and maybe at least get to the top of that rise. Okay, that's not actually going to show us very much. So let's try to get to, let's get up a little higher. I'm pretty sure we need to go this way anyway. So we'll get to the top of that little peak to our left here. Ooh, you hear the wind. All right, this is going to give us a little better perspective. So we know we're against the mountain here. We've got a couple little land masses. There's another mountain off in the distance. So let's take a look. Know what panel that is. We don't need two of these. All right, so view map. And I'll switch the view here in just a second, guys. So it's loading up. Okay, so we got that piece of land there that's kind of sticking out in the water here. So I'm going to guess that that's this here. A couple of little pieces of land this way, which kind of match up right there. So this is probably where we're at, is this corner here. There's the mountain that's off in the distance over there. So if we're going to come around this way, we're probably right about here. So we need to go across this mountain and head south. So that is the direction we want to go. That's going to bring us across this way and cut out some of the nonsense. We're going to be heading down this way. I'm kind of thinking down like around this area. Looks like a nice little spot. It kind of pulls the settlement off a little bit. We can run a road through here. Yes, it means that my mine won't be protected, and I'm okay with that because I'll just go and mine materials and bring them back, and then my forge and all that stuff will be protected over on my deed. It's better than in a narrow choke point like this. It's better than locking off this whole area as my settlement, even though it's going to cover my mine, because by doing that, you also potentially prevent other people from getting through. And I would rather see a road go through here, honestly. Um, that would be awesome if there was a road going through. And who cares if I got to cross the road to get to my mine? I'm okay with that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the game, and I'll show you what I was seeing. So there's that little piece of land that's kind of sticking out. And then there's the other sections of land that I was using to cross-reference. There's the other mountain we saw on the map, which means we need to go this way to head the direction we want to go. Easy enough? All right. Let's do it. And no, this may not be the easiest path. Sometimes the shortcuts are worse than the long routes around, but we're going to try to cut out some of the long run. All right, we're going to be smart about this and hit the climb. If we start dropping down too fast, we'll hit the climb. So we don't want to be injured. Seem to be okay at the moment because we're going downhill, but The grass is going to slow us down. The hills are going to slow us down. The rocks are going to make this uh, walking across this area a little faster. Try to stay right on this ridge line so we don't have to keep climbing and going downhill. Yeah, see, there's not hardly any animals. Usually there's a bunch. So we're gonna probably up the animal count. Another little rose bush. Oh, there's another little bush. That is a hazelnut bush. Now the other possibility when we get over here is that it's going to be kind of a steep drop coming down, so we definitely want to be careful. And if you're trying to shortcut, cut through a shortcut going over a mountain, yeah, you definitely want to be mindful of your climb and your abilities, because those drop-offs could be, oh no, I'm out of stamina. Let me get up here. Can I stop? Yeah. Yeah, the drop-offs could be pretty treacherous, and you don't want to spend most of your time trying to bandage back up if you survive it. Well, time to climb. And this kind of flattens out a little bit. So we don't want to go up and over the entire mountain. We just want to kind of skirt some of it and cut out a bunch of the extra travel if we can. Because we're trying to go this way. So there's no point in going up this way. I mean, you can kind of imagine that you're riding a bike or driving a car, something along those lines, um, and how most streets will go straight and then there's a 90-degree turn. But if it's a shallow enough curb, you're probably going to kind of hug that curb going around to try to cut the corner a little bit. That's all we're doing right here. We're just trying to cut the corner. And I know we're starting to get a little bit down on our water, so we'll get that here in a minute. But the nice thing about Wurm is you can pretty much travel wherever you want within reason. I mean, even if you wanted to go all the way up to the top of the mountain. If you can find a path, you can probably travel it. Ooh, this one's going to be, let's be smart about this one. We'll use climb just to try to prevent some of it. There we go. Kind of come down the hill. We're definitely not trying to injure ourselves here. And I know we're probably gaining climb skill. Yep, climbed to 19 so far. So I may decide to turn the skill gains down a little bit more. They're at 2.5 right now, but that does seem a little bit fast. Matter of fact, get up here real quick. There's climbing right there. 19.04. So let's reduce this a bit so that we can still see what's going on. Go down so we can monitor the climbing. And I'm going to put this down here in the corner. Yeah, see, here's one of those kind of sketchy areas that I said we should be careful of. We're going to have to go up and over this rise, I think. Let's just be smart and head down. Yeah, we just hurt. We ran out of stamina. We do still have some cotton. Torso and hand, huh? Let's see. There's our cotton right there. Activate the cotton. We're going to put it on. Let's do the hand. I was going to save it and pick some seeds, but it's okay. We'll be able to find more cotton. Might take a little while, but nope, failed twice. That's all the cotton we had. So we're just going to have to live with it. That is one of the downsides of trying to take a shortcut. But this is going to cut out so much time in the long run. It's just going to be a bit more difficult. Come on, turn the climb off. We need the stamina back. See how slow that meter comes back up? That's because we're running low on water. We're down to almost 50%. So we got to rest up a little bit more each time, because the climb is really going to start pulling it out of us. Not trying to climb that rise, we're just trying to get across over here. We're going to climb this little rise over here. See if we're close yet. We should be. Yep. There we go. Cut through our shortcut. Let's find a nice gentle place to kind of come down, if one exists, right there. Get some stamina back. We're still okay on food for the moment. We just need more water. So we're heading in that direction. Let's go this way. This looks a little bit more, I don't want to say flat, but looks like the slopes are going to be a little more cooperative. How about that? Rather than these deep valleys. There we go. And yeah, I think over here is going to be better. Probably still going to need our climb skill, just so that we don't damage even more. Get the stamina back so we don't lose the climb skill, or the ability to climb. So we're already at 19.91. So I definitely want to adjust that a little bit. I don't I don't mind having the skills, but half of the fun of this game is acquiring them, and we don't want to gain too fast. So for example, if you're starting a mine, you don't want to instantly go from 10 to 40 in 3 mining actions. That's just ridiculously fast. And I know that water is in this direction, so that's the way we're going to go. We're still following the mountain. We got to get to the water. So maybe if we get on the other side of these trees. Yeah, there's absolutely no way I would have made this journey yesterday um, in time before I had to go to work like I thought I was going to. Like I said, this is a very, very large map. I wasn't sure what type of trees these were, but they look kind of cool. They're walnut trees. I was just admiring the color. And I do have a mod that I still have access to that I'll be putting in. What in the world is that? Camilla bush. Um, it went over fairly well on the last public server. It's to, when you log in, you'll get a message in the events tab, I believe it was, that tells you what the date in game is, what season we're in, and if and there I know that there are charts out there. If I can get a hold of the charts, um, I'll post up a leaderboard or not a leaderboard, a billboard or something, reader board. That's what I was thinking. Um, back at Sanctuary, so that any new players coming on can immediately get that list and write it down or put it in a spreadsheet, whatever. And we can, and I know it's a pretty extensive list, so, but this way anybody can know what seasons we're in, so they know what to go and harvest, or when the harvest is coming up for a specific type of thing. I lost the water. I know it's over there somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. So we're going to keep going. We do still have a fair amount. We're at, what are we at? 41%. But you can see it's definitely taking a while to bring the stamina back up. And while you can probably hear the birds in the background, you're not going to see them. There are very few birds in this game that you actually see. See, there's another horse. That's the first horse we've seen since the last one. And we've traveled quite a ways. So I definitely need to add more. Okay, that is the next mountain range over. So this is definitely the direction we want to go. We want to follow that. See this mountain here, if the trees weren't in the way, kind of ends right here. we want to head towards that mountain because that's the one that's going to house our settlement. So yeah, if we've got that seasonal list, then we know what's coming into season. Um, we know what's going to be available, and that mod actually tells you what's currently harvestable. So if you're looking, for instance, if you need maple, you need uh, t- to get the maple out of the maple trees. Um, you can tap the trees and you'll be able to harvest that during certain seasons. If you need apples, apple trees will give you apples. But if it's not in season, you're not going to get any. Blueberries, lingonberries, raspberries, oranges, lemons, all that stuff. And clearly, I mean, even if it's not in season, you can forage and you can run the chance of getting something. But okay, so we know we're heading towards this mountain. We're going to cut through these trees. Found a corn. I'm hoping for another pumpkin or some more cotton or something. Finding lots and lots and lots of mushrooms. Raspberries. So if you notice, stamina is going down slightly with each forage, see? So I can stand here and gain it back up. And it's going to take a bit longer because we're now down to 34 water. So we don't want to forage too much because that's going to take forever. And we need to get to the water. We didn't find any cotton. Didn't find a pumpkin. We're still okay on food at the moment. I like to keep my food a bit higher than that, but that's doable for now because we have a goal in mind. We're trying to get to the other mountain. This is a bit of a clearing. There's another bowl. So we're going to shoot for right in between those trees and see if the water's right there. Okay, I can see water over there. So that's where we're going right now. That is our number one goal. An old sheep. More grape bushes. And those will come into season and be harvestable as well. I think for some of these you actually need, excuse me, you actually need a sickle or a scythe or something. Like I said, it's been a couple of years since I played Wurm, so I've forgotten a little bit. But we'll get back into the swing of it. I still remember quite a bit, just not all the specifics. And we got to stop and gain some stamina back. Oh, that is horrible. 1 to 2% per second. That's why you want to keep your water level up, guys. And I may or may not have to step away here in just a little bit. Um, I have somebody showing up briefly at my house to get some paperwork signed. So if that happens, then I'm not going to exit the game. I'm just going to step away briefly, but I will end up being back. There's a chance they may not show up, so no big deal. But if they do, um, then it's just going to be a step away for just a few minutes, and then I'll be back to it. But that is not right now. So, all right, that's good enough. And as you can see, we're back to 100% health. So we're good there. Oh, there's another horse. Third one. And I know we're about to run through some more trees. We could go around, but we want to kind of stay with the mountain over here. So we're just going to cut through. Trees are pretty easy. So on the last server, I had a few areas that were really, really dense forest. And some players refused to go through them. I'm probably still going to do that. That is not the case at the moment. Um, but that would be something that Alpha would be working on. Um, I think right now the tree population could probably go up, but tree growth will happen naturally with the game as well. Um, so if I just kind of leave it alone, over time it'll start expanding and growing on its own. But there's an aged horse. Ooh, there is so much land here. And that water looks so far away, but we got to get to it. And then we're going to end up backtracking. But this is definitely a required thing. We need to get to that water. But yeah, there we had a few areas that were really dense forest. And I personally liked it, but I kind of like the feel of having the open space as well. Um, you can see any creatures that come in that are coming by. Whereas in that dense forest, it was more like a if a wolf came out at you, you didn't see him coming until he was right on top of you. You could kind of go around one tree, and all of a sudden there was, scorpions or whatever sitting right there, or a troll popping out. It was a bit of a interesting setup. I remember coming around a few trees at some point, and um, there was um, a bull or a cow or something right there, and it still freaked me out for just a brief second because you don't know what it is until you look at it. And just seeing something move out of the corner of your eye when you're in an area like that can really set the nerves off. Okay, we're not going way over there. I can clearly see there's water over here. So that is where we're heading. This one's going to be closer, less backtracking. Yeah, look at that. Look at all of this open, almost flat area. Sure, there's not a ton of trees here, but you can go forage and find saplings and make your own trees. Um, it's a lot of good land for farming and doing your own crops and stuff. Oh, was that an optical illusion? Well, I hope not. We'll know when we get over this little rise in front of us right here. But I mean, there is some really, really, really good spots on this. And I was thinking about it last night. Even if you and your neighbor decided, oh, good. Even if you and your neighbor decided that you were going to share a mine, um, that's actually not unheard of in this game. You could easily share a mine with somebody else. Um, you both have your settlements or whatnot. Maybe nobody owns the mine, and you open it up as a public mine. The both of you can go in, or all three, or all five of you, however many neighbors you got, can all go in and mine out the rock so that it's the ores that are exposed. And then whenever you need ores, you just go in, you mine what you need, and you leave. If you got extra time, you go in, you mine out some more um, rocks to get them out of the way, expose more veins, but you work together. And that's not a bad thing either. You could even have community style forges and whatnot where everybody helps to maintain them, so that um, the decay is not impossible for anybody. Maybe somebody decides, hey, you know what, you guys mine the rock out. I'll maintain the equipment, and they do all the repairs because they're more skilled at it. Or maybe they're trying to get their skills up. You can easily work as a community in any situation like that. There's another little horse down there. That's a young horse. Dang, if only I had a rope. I could try to wrangle that horse, but I don't even have a settlement set up. I no longer have a tent. You guys watched that get destroyed. I would say that all I have is the clothes on my back, but I don't even have that. Just got some very crude rock style tools. Here's some moss, and it's slow going on moss. I am out of stamina. I'm almost out of water. I do not care. I'm about to get there. We got 3% stamina, down to 12% water. When you're down this low, everything's slow. There's really no point in me stopping to get more stamina just to get to the water. I'm this close to it, I may as well just get to the water. There we go. Look at how fast that goes back up. Now, since we're here, let's see what we got. We got a couple of potatoes. We got blueberries, raspberries. So we are going to, let's eat both of these. I'm going to open Wurmpedia. And we're going to look up a couple of these. Let's see, the black mushroom. Can be used to create a healing cover with potency of 5. You can use a spoon to make it a container for cooking recipes. That I didn't know. What's the next one? Got green, red, blue, and brown. The green mushroom healing cover of potency of 4, and you can make it use a spoon to make it into a container for cooking. The red mushroom can only be used as a container in cooking recipes, cannot be used in healing covers. And the let's see, the blue. Healing cover with a potency of 3 and can still be used in cooking as a container. And the brown. I know there's a yellow one too, I think. The brown is a healing cover with a potency of 2 and can be used as a container for cooking. Yes, there is a yellow mushroom. I don't have one, but again, healing cover with potency of 3 and can be used as a container. So the red one was the only one that could not be used. Let's see. Am I missing any? No. So black is a healing potency of 5, green is a healing potency of 4, yellow is 3, blue is 3, brown is 2, and the red is 0. It cannot be used as a healing cover. And you use the alchemy skill to do that. All of them can be used. If you use a spoon on them, you can turn them into containers for cooking. Let's see. Can be grown in a large planter. Can be found growing on grass, tree, and mycelium tiles, there is no mycelium in on this map. There was no point in putting it there. There's also no lava. Or when foraging for vegetables. Mushrooms can also be given to a follower of a deity when praying at an altar. And that's about it. So the rice, we would want a tile similar to this that's kind of touching water, but you want it more flat. And you want to farm and cultivate that area, then you can plant the rice in there, and you can grow rice. But it's got to be near water. So I believe it's a tile height of 10 or below. Let's see, rice field. Rice requires a water depth of at least 1 and a maximum of 4. So I stand corrected. It's not 10. The drink option in the context menu will first appear when at least one corner of the tile is 1 dirt below water. Another way to measure depth is with a shovel's maximum dig depth. 3 dirts up from maximum shovel dig depth is the maximum planting depth, 4 dirts below water. And 6 dirts up is the minimum planting depth, 1 dirt below. So it's got to be 1 dirt down. So we'll head back over to the water real quick. Okay, so like here, this is water depth. So this would be 0 on right here. That tile border goes down below. So all of this is too high. So you would need to flatten this out and get it to between 1 and 4 tiles below the water level. So you're going to see kind of a swampy little tile when you're done. That's where you plant rice. All right, let's get back to our goal. Now that we can see this mountain that we're coming off of right there, we can see that mountain that we're headed to. We can see the water. We're going to go around the water and continue heading towards this mountain. We may as well eat one of the potatoes as well, just to make sure that we're good there. We're going to close this and we're going to go. And I have at most about a half an hour left, and I will have to shut down the video for another 8-hour shift, and I may or may not create another video tonight. It depends on how I feel after work. If not, there'll be one tomorrow. Well, either way, there may be one tomorrow. There should be one tomorrow. I do have an appointment I have to go to tomorrow, but that won't affect the overall decision. That we'll still end up putting one out. So maybe within the half an hour that's left, we can actually get to the plot. And I know we didn't do a whole lot in this run, but I choose not to edit everything and give you real footage of what the game's realistically like, not just the highlights. Oleander bush. Okay, I can see just barely the tip of this mountain, so that's the way we're heading. Camilla bush. Let's get some stamina back. We're not going to worry about foraging anymore right now. Let's just try to get to the location. This looks like it's probably sand. Just because it's more of that brownish color and not the grayish color, it is sand. I'm sure we will run across some clay at some point. I don't see any here. But as you can see, I mean, this isn't a massive sand area, but it's still a large enough one that multiple people can use this for quite a long time. And it's not going to cause any problems. I mean, there's plenty of sand there. And trust me, I am a very active GM. Any complaints on my server, I do get to, and I try to address as quickly as I can. Any questions or concerns, even if I'm on my GM character, or I tend not to do a whole lot of interaction on the Ironman characters, but any other character, I'm happy to answer questions and address any concerns or whatever. Doesn't matter what character I'm on. But if you notice that, some brand new random person just jumped over and started yanking up a bunch of land. Ooh, nice little lightning strike there. Um, or they're hoarding um, the only sand spot or clay spot anywhere around. Let me know and I'll go check it out. If it doesn't seem like there's clay right there. So if this is the only clay spot around and they're just being, you know, one of those kind of players, let me know. I'll go check it out. If it's, you know, legitimately being a pain, then I will address the issue appropriately. Um, if it's not, and they just happen to make their settlement in an area where, there's clay available, there's sand available, and you're just being bitter about it, then I will address that as well. But I want a nice, friendly community, and I don't tolerate a lot of drama. So, okay, so help me out here, Biddy. Down means dig, right? Yeah, down means dig. So we want to go to this tile or this corner right here. We're going to dig a clay. We're going to dig a couple of clays because I don't know how much it takes to make a pottery bowl, but we may as well get something accomplished in this video. Okay, there's 2 clays. We're going to open our crafting window, and we're going to open our character window. We need our hand. We need our hand. How do we do? Oh, this guy. This guy. Um, oh, there we go. Add hand. See, I should have known. I should have known. Sorry. I know you're probably just telling me that to do it, and I heard you. All right. So what we need is a bowl, but you can make flasks, flower pots, planters, pie dishes, all kinds of different stuff. Smelting pots, bricks, which are used in building, shingles for roofing, all that stuff. But we want bowls. So we're gonna try to make 3 bowls. And we'll extend this down a little bit so you guys can see that. Got a couple. We got all 3. And how much clay do we still have? We still have a ton of clay. um, that's not taking up too much weight. What are we at here? 140, total weight 65. So we're still good, but we don't need any more at the moment. I don't need to make really any more of this stuff. Um, yeah, I think we're good there at the moment. So we still have a little bit of clay. If need be, we can hunt down more later on, but you can see that turned these to dirt next to the clay. Now, if I dig a dirt and I put it on the clay, it's going to uh, turn it into dirt. If I go over here, we open this up and we say drop. Wait, which one's? Yeah, this one. Drop on ground. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to take that guy again. And now it's this guy. Yeah, it should have been drop on ground. Well, I thought by dropping it on a dirt tile, hang on, let me double check. Clay. Clay is a resource obtained by digging on a clay tile, can also be foraged from mineral debris. Clay is used to create many clay and pottery items, can be heated in a forge, campfire, or kiln to become pottery items. Continue building will only use 2 kilograms of clay lump at a time. Clay has a high decay rate. Building failures will damage the whole lump, not just the 2-kilogram part that was used. Clay items cannot be changed back into clay. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of sand. If you swap sand out, or if you wanted to swap sand out, so we're going to take that back up just so we're not leaving garbage around. But if this was sand, you could drop it on a dirt tile and turn it into sand. If it was dirt, you can drop it on a sand tile and turn it into dirt. So that's what I was thinking. I was backwards, sorry. So now we can close that. We do have 3 clay bowls. We'll put them in a campfire later on because that takes a little while. and they'll turn into pottery bowls that we can use for cooking. And you just put ingredients in it, put it back in the campfire or whatever, and it turns into different meals for you. Then we have cooked items, and that'll help bring our nutritional values up. So we're still heading towards this mountain, but it's going to be a little bit of a trek getting there. We're already at nighttime. You can hear the owls occasionally, anyway. I don't hear any wolves, so that's good. I don't know what that creature is, but there's definitely a creature there. You can see the little shimmering. All right, guys, I have to pause this. That's my paperwork. So I will be back in just a few minutes. So hang on. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I got about 15 minutes, so let's continue the run and see if we can get to the new location. Um, oh, doggone it. I think, is that the mountain there? Yeah. So we're going to head this way. I think those might be cows. Hoping they're cows. I don't know. That kind of looks like a cow. I don't know what this is. That's another cow. Okay. Ah, and we close that window. We can close the skills window. We don't need either of those open. So I think I'm going to drop the skill rate gain down to probably 1.5 from 2.5 because it seems a little fast. And I like things a little bit slower. Plus, that'll kind of ensure that, anyone that comes on here is more likely to stick around if they appreciate the complexities of the game and accept the fact that they're not going to be superhuman in like 20 minutes. And there are some servers out there that they've got 10 times the skill gains and all that stuff. You start at 40, in every skill, whatever, and you're basically maxed out within the first hour for everything, that you've been working on. Um, I'm not into that. I would rather have um, potential residents of the server instead of the pop in, say hi, and never see you again type players. And there are going to be a few of those because they'll come on thinking that they're going to effectively be superhuman in no time, and then they'll realize, oh yeah, the skill gains are kind of slow, and yeah, on purpose. So don't ask me to boost them up. I will do the exact same thing that I do every single time with various different aspects of the game. I will add quality of life mods and only quality of life mods to make things um, a bit more tolerable. I will not add mods that alter or change dramatically the way the game is played. And there are those mods out there as well. But I'm not going to be adding those. I will not put in, 30,000 aggressive creatures just because I can. No, that's not the way I want to play it. This fog's killing me. Okay, that is the mountain there. Can't see the edge. I can't tell if that's part of it there or not. We're going to head towards this patch till we get a little closer. Because unfortunately, that's all I know. I know there's a mountain there. I know that's the direction I'm heading. And then, yeah, so on top of that, I'm not going to make it so that, um, the skills are just given to the players um, within just a couple actions. I don't like that. I've played games like that, and it's sure it might be, a bit of an endorphin rush um, for a little bit, but I get bored with it so quickly. I mean, really, what's the fun in playing a game if you're already effectively a god? Unless it's a game designed around like gods fighting other gods or something, and everyone's superhuman, and it becomes a skill-based thing rather than a skill rate gain type of thing. And Worm is more of a skill rate game, a skill rate gain type setup where you start with basically nothing and you build your world. It doesn't matter if it's Worm Online or Worm Unlimited. Um, you're effectively coming into at the start of a server. You're coming into a world onto a map that has nothing. It's got animals, it's got trees, it's got mineable materials, um, it's got land, but there's no buildings, there's no economy, there's nothing. You have to do all of that yourself. A lot of other games, you already start with the buildings there, you start with or the roads, or all that stuff. That's not the case in Worm. If you want a road, you got to make the road. It's a lot of or a lot of the fun of the game is having the satisfaction of knowing that, hey, you know what? That particular item right there is only in this game because I made it. Because I got my skills up high enough to be able to craft that item. Because I got my skills high enough to be able to, uh, you know, make and design that road. That road curves that way because that's the way I made it go. You can't do that in a lot of other games. Everything's either scripted in or it's uh, set up and designed that way by whoever is hosting or created the game. Um, I mentioned games like EverQuest and Skyrim before. I've played them both, but you can't go in and make your own roads in either one. You can't craft the buildings on your own. Um, sure, you can have the satisfaction of making your own armor and stuff, but realistically, if you look at the stats of the armor and weaponry and stuff that you can make in those games versus what you can get from a creature drop from killing a creature and looting, the items from that creature, 9 times out of 10, those looted items are going to be better than anything you can craft. 9 times out of 10. That's not the case with Worm. Everything is a resource here. So you use those resources to make other stuff. So if I want a house in this area, number one, I have to chop down the trees. That's going to give me the lumber, or well, it's going to give me logs, and then I got to use a saw with the logs, or various other tools to create the planks and the lumber that I need, whatever. But then I've got to come back through and uh, dig the land and flatten everything down and do the terraforming and all that stuff. I've got to make sure uh, that all of the ground is set properly. This fog is killing me. I can't see. Oh, there's the mountain over there. Okay. I'm just looking for that little white patch right there because that's the only thing telling me that there's a mountain there. I can see kind of faded green from the grass, but that's about that's about it. The mountain itself, the rock tiles blend in with the fog. Um, but yeah, I would have to literally build the building, um, plant the settlement, cut all the trees, make all the stuff for the roofing, all of it, all on my own, or pay another player to do it. None of it exists when a server first introduces a map. None of it. It's all just wilderness. And that's part of the reason, looking at the time, I'm probably just going to shoot directly to the mountain. I don't think we're going to have time to get to the actual piece of land, so that'll be, maybe we'll do that later tonight, if I'm up for it after work, or tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening, whatever, whenever I get on tomorrow. Um, but we'll at least try to get to the mountain because I'm quickly running out of time. And again, this is a massive, massive map. If you can't find a place to set up your settlement on this map, then there's a problem. There's tons of open land. There's tons of areas that you can um, work on in here. I mean, honestly, if you wanted a lake right here, you could dig down probably to the rock layer and then mine into the rock layer and you could create your own lake. Name another game that you can do that effectively. I'm sure there probably are a few, but that's just it. There are a few. There are not going to be a ton of games unless they're designed specifically for this style of gameplay. Wurm used to be, when it first released, it became a very popular game pretty quickly, and then the community kind of petered out. I mean, it does have dated graphics. Wurm Unlimited does not get any updates, so it's a diehard type community that's left playing this. But those of us that do still play really, really, really enjoy playing. It would be um, absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, if the community started to grow again. So I'm doing what I can, not really everything I can, I suppose, but I'm doing my part by sharing the experiences of the game, by posting videos of a game that probably has been long since forgotten by most, or you know, those that have never heard of it can at least be exposed to the style of game that it is. So, I mean, there's a huge community out there that has never even heard of the game. And then there's another group. There's basically three groups of people out there, of gamers out there. The first, like I said, are those that have never heard of the game even. So they have no idea that this game even exists. The second are those that have played it before and have stepped away and have gone on and played other games, and they've forgotten about Wurm even being around. And some of them may even be surprised that it still is around. And then there's the third, and that's the smallest group, and that's the diehards. That's the ones like myself and Old Bitty Gaming that we're very passionate about the game. We love playing the game. It's extremely fun to play for us, and we keep coming back to it time and time and time again. It's a fun game, but it's fun in a different aspect. Is there combat? Sure, but you got to train those skills up. You don't just get handed a sword and say, "Oh, okay, go kill the cows," because they only have 3 hit points and you have 30, and yeah, you have all this armor, so you're good to go. They're not even going to be able to touch you. No, cows are dangerous in this game if you haven't played around with the chickens first, or whatever. You have to gain those skills. And there is our next body of water and the mountain. We can see the mountain better. So instead of getting to the mountain, we're going to get to, because it's further away still, we're going to get to this water. We need to take a drink anyway, and we're going to call it quits right there so I can get ready for work. And then we might end up doing another video tonight. We may just wait until tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. I won't know until after I get off work and I know how, or I, can gauge how I feel at that point. Um, some days I'm just flat out exhausted, and other days, I still got a little bit of energy to spare. So we'll see how that goes when I get home from work. It is a full 8-hour shift, so and I do know people that tend to play other video games that if they decide, oh well, you know what, I don't feel like going to work today. I'm gonna call in sick, or I'm gonna tell them that my back hurts, or whatever, and they choose to stay home and do nothing but um, sit on the couch, for instance, or um, jump on their their PlayStation or their Xbox, or whatever, and have a day of just gaming. Well, I mean, I suppose if you could afford it, some of us understand our responsibilities and know that we have to go and be adults for a little while, and I'm okay with that as well. Sure, every once in a while I do feel like just saying, you know what, I don't feel like going in. I just want to sit and relax for the day. But at the same time, and I have taken a few days here and there when I haven't felt well, but usually that's few and far between. I'd rather go to work, get my job done, no, feel good about the fact that my boss can count on me and know that if I'm scheduled to be there, I'm going to be there. I show up early, I stay late. I often have, well, not often, I have on a number of occasions even worked off the clock. If any of you even know what that means, I will go in and handle situations while I'm just there picking up my schedule, even though I'm not clocked in, I'm not getting paid to do it, but I might be there for an hour just dealing with a situation to help out my coworkers so that they know they can count on me. I was raised with the old school work ethic. Um, my dad was son of a farmer and raised as a farmer's son until he was old enough to join the military. And he did his time in the military, what he was contracted for. Um, and then he went into the reserves for a while and did some time there. And then he, you know, started working in factories and foundries, and did that pretty much till the day he retired. He had um, he had nothing but respect for his work ethic, and he allowed us to see that that's how an adult is supposed to be. That's You have responsibilities, you have bills you got to pay. You can't count on anyone else to pay your bills but you. And that's what we learned. So that is precisely how I run my life. Okay, we're drinking some water, and I'm going to back away from the water just a little bit. The mountain is right there. It is nighttime yet again. Our goal is to kind of get out. I think it's this little jet out right there. I'm not sure, but we got to get around this water to that mountain and onto the other side. That'll be in the next episode. So for now, that is going to be it because I need to go and be an adult for a while and go to work. So I hope, as Biddy says, y'all have a wonderful night or evening or day wherever you are, and we'll see you in the next one.